I guess a bit of preamble. I'm not really much a comic book fan. The environment and the situation I was living in was such that serious comic books, in the same way Americans understand them anyhow, were not really a thing until the late 2010, and even today piracy is often the only way for me to read a lot of comics, not because I'm cheap, but simply because there's no legal and convenient way for us to purchase them. Yet at the same time, I had a cursory knowledge of comic books well before the modern superhero craze, thanks to a combination of Linkara, Wikipedia, and Batman Arkham Asylum Let's Plays on YouTube, and thus I have enough knowledge to not only recognize some of the characters, but also have an educated guess on whether or not this would be in character for them or not, a vague and illusory that a character actually is in the comic books. You see, Harley Quinn as a character, she's been through a lot in recent years, starting from just a Joker's woman to Joker woman to a lesbian to now this recent dual portrayal of her being this faux pas looking anti-hero on one hand and basically Joker's enabler on the other, and it's ultimately fine. Harley Quinzel as a character will always be in a constant state of transformation and change, because that's ultimately what happens with characters of mythology so known and popular it constitutes modern mythology, and like those characters, their story also seems to never fucking end. In the future, maybe she'll become a bad girl, have sex with Batman, and their son becomes a new Robin. Or maybe not. It doesn't matter, because so long as canon isn't going, the ultimate answer to any discussions will always be depends on the current canon or your fan theory. Just like, who would win against these X characters? Because okay, I've digressed long enough. Suicide Squad Isekai. Suicide Squad Isekai is an anime. Out of these recent animes, it's probably the weirdest one to talk about. Done by Warner Brothers Japan and 10 episodes long, it constitutes the ongoing slow offensive DC has on Japanese anime market. Suicide Squad is a team of supervillains that is gathered by Amanda Waller, this black woman, to send them into mortal situations as expendable chaff. If they do the job, they get rewards. If they die, nothing of value was really lost. It is a premise that is flexible enough to do anything, really. So in our case, they've opened a portal to another world, so Harley Quinn, Clayface, Deadshot, Peacemaker, and King Shark are tasked with doing some bullshit that I already forgot, and who the fuck even cares, because it all crashes anyway and they're left to their own devices, guided by their own will and morality and the bomb implanted in their necks. The anime is average. It's a good sort of average, but it's average nonetheless. The biggest problem with the story is just how by the numbers it is. Anyone who has ever watched a Western cartoon after about 2013 knows what this story is going to be about. Hell, I can argue that anyone who has ever watched or, God forbid, played the recent Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will know what the story is about. These are the villains, but they're people, and Harley Quinn is now in her I'm not just madly in love with the Joker, I fully buy into his ideology of chaos phase of the archetype, so her role is being the protagonist of the story and spout stuff at various characters. In my research, I've been informed that the author of ReZero was head writer or some shit, and you can feel it to some extent. In fact, that feeling is one of the main reasons why I say the anime is the good sort of average. The graphics are... well, they look like shit in still images, but they're actually fairly decent on a technical level. Sure, it's not very smooth and detailed, but to be quite frank, if we're going to downgrade due to economics and all, I'd like people to take notes from this anime in terms of 2D graphics. The music is nothing to write home about either. So to conclude my rant, Suicide Isekai's closest relative in the world of food is whatever chocolate-covered snack you prefer. On its own, it is impressive because it represents a professionally made thing done by professionals, decades worth of development in culinary arts, automated and packaged as a quick consumable for your convenience. For some, it is nothing more than that. For some, it is art. Yet none of this matters, because its whole fate is to be consumed and its wrapper disposed of. Or be filled with cement and slingshotted at cows because you were bored.